Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I am the Maize Man. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, share this with your friends and family on social media, and of course, subscribe. Also, there's a new hype feature on YouTube videos. Be sure to hype this video so we get it to as many people as possible. Today, we're talking Michigan versus Washington preview, all that, and of course,
I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully, but disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans, poor little bro, man. And I'ma tell them where I'm at. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, the other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
First things first, let's talk about both of these teams' strengths, weaknesses, what they've been to this point in the season. Let's start with the Wolverines. Michigan, of course, 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten, averaging 29.5 points per game, 418 yards per game, which doesn't sound terrible on its face. However, against better opponents, the two best opponents they faced this season, Oklahoma and USC, that offense has only mustered 13 points in both games, respectively. We know that's not going to be enough to beat this high-powered offense of Washington, even if that game is being played in Ann Arbor. But that is Michigan in a nutshell on offense. On the flip side, you look at Washington. They come into this game 5-1, 2-1 also in the Big Ten, but that one loss coming to the team that's also number one in the country in the other state. They did lose that game at home to the other state where they were, pretty much handcuffed in that game, but that team also happens to have a really good defense. They're either number one or number two in most defensive categories, speaking about the other state. So Washington is going to come into this game confident. Firstly, they're coming off of wins the last couple of weeks, while Michigan is fresh off a bad loss on the road to USC. Washington has a very mobile quarterback in Damon Williams. Not just is he a mobile quarterback, but he can also spin the rock. He's got a 10-1 touchdown to interception ratio, completing 74% of his passes, and I made mention of his running ability. He has over 380 yards rushing on the season as well. But it doesn't stop there, because his running back, Jonah Coleman, leads the nation in rushing touchdowns with 11 and averages 5.4 yards per carry. They are a triple threat because they have a wide receiver in Denzel Boston, who's their top receiving threat. He has 30 receptions on the season for 444 yards and 6 touchdowns himself. Washington comes into this one top 20 in both points per game and average yards per game, scoring 39.2 points per game and averaging 468.5 yards per game. All that said, Michigan is going to have to tackle. They're going to have to make tackles in open space. If not, this could get real Shabba ranks, ladies and gentlemen. Damon Williams is an absolute threat no matter where he is on the field. Jonah Coleman is a threat. They're going to have to wrap him up in tackle. They're going to have to wrap up Damon Williams in tackle. And, of course, we can't forget about Denzel Boston. These guys should strike a little fear in Michigan fans' hearts, especially coming off that game against USC where USC ran for over 220 yards against the Wolverines. It was just an embarrassing display on defense for Michigan. And, the offense didn't fare much better, only mustering 13 points. But like I mentioned, it was a ton of missed tackles. Michigan is definitely going to have to make open field tackles and just tackles, period, in this game versus Washington in order to have a chance. All right, historically, Michigan leads the series against Washington 27-17, but Washington, of course, winning the most recent contest last season at home, their first year in the Big Ten. Of course, the time they met before that was the previous season in the national championship, where Michigan was victorious in that game. For Michigan, this game acts as a critical bounce back moment, if you will, to avoid a spiral, a similar to kind of get away from a season like they had a year ago, 5 losses. This game will tell us a lot about this team going forward. For Washington, it's a chance to get an upset on the road and make a statement in the Big Ten. Both of these teams have a ton on the line, especially as it pertains to playoff hopes and Big Ten title hopes. You know, having 1 loss is not so bad right now, but having 2 losses almost all but surely eliminates you in the Big Ten. And in terms of Michigan, who already has 2 losses on the season, of course, the only 1 conference loss, but with the 3rd loss on the season, that would almost all but ruin their college football playoff hopes. For Michigan, the mission is clear. You got to win out pretty much, right? Down the stretch, they need to go 6-0. And I believe if they go 6-0, they will make the college football playoff. But it's imperative that they do that. And being 6-0 would also include beating that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus at the end of the season. But I don't even want to think about that right now. We're talking this game. For Washington, they have a little more wiggle room in terms of their CFP hopes. But I don't know if this is a big game for Washington. They lose this game, the Big Ten is out, and likely the college football playoff will probably be out for them as well. So both teams, again, a ton to play for in this game. Jed Fish, the head coach of Washington, has those guys humming. They look great. And we know what the fan base for Michigan is torn right now with head coach Jerome Moore. I am firmly behind the head coach. I believe he deserves this year and next year, but we'll see what happens. Of course, things can change quickly, as we've seen with Penn State, as we've seen with other programs that have fired coaches and things like that. Now, I don't even want to put that into the ethos of firing the head coach at Michigan. Consistency, though, is key, and Michigan does need to display some sort of consistency and some sort of discipline, and that discipline includes making tackles. So many missed tackles for the Wolverines this season. It's kind of ridiculous. Now, let's get to some strengths and weaknesses. Right now, I don't even know if defense is a strength for the Wolverines. They're allowing 18.7 points a game. Of course, a lot of those came against USC just last week. They're also allowing 317 yards per game. That's 61st overall in the country. A lot of those yards came last week where they gave up nearly 500. So there's that. And also, I think USC exposed some key issues for Michigan against the run. If Michigan's front 7 doesn't tighten up, Washington's run attack and that dual threat quarterback are going to exploit it. That's just the bottom line. For Washington, their defense has been pretty strong against the run, actually. They're 7th nationally, but they struggle more in pass defense, allowing a ton of yards. I believe they're 86th in the country in terms of passing yards. Their third down defense is also pretty porous. They're 89th in third down defense. So Michigan will definitely have chances. It's about whether or not they take advantage of them. If Michigan can pass the ball efficiently, which it hasn't necessarily established yet with Bryce Underwood, Bryce has had flashes of being a superstar. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, only 2 interceptions, but he's only completing 59.7% of his passes. That's just under 60%. You want to see that be a little higher for sure. But that said, if Michigan can establish the pass game, some consistency in the pass game against Washington's secondary, then I feel like they can challenge this Washington secondary that way. Couple key things to look out for. There was some inside information that Bryce left the game against Washington in a boot, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Also, Justice Haynes is listed as questionable for this game. That actually gives me more concern than anything because Justice Haynes has been incredible this season. Of course, he left the game, I believe, in the first half against USC and never returned. And he's been pretty much the bell cow for the Wolverines. I believe before last game, every game he had over 100 yards and over a run over 40 yards in every game before last week. So there's that. I will say this. Michigan is favored by 5.5 points. Take that for what you take it for. I will give my prediction here in a second. That said, this is a key game for guys like Ernest Hausman, guys like Jayshon Barham. Those guys are going to be leaned on heavily on this defense. Andrew Marsh is a guy that we've been speaking about on the channel a lot. He's a true freshman that really seems to have come into his own. Over the last 2 games, he's been targeted 13 times. He's made 12 catches of those 13 targets. He's really on fire right now. In the last game, he went over 100 yards. Was really a bright spot for the Wolverines. He and Bryce Underwood for the Wolverines in terms of the young talent. We'll see what happens there, though. Major concern, again, is the inconsistency of Michigan's offense. The passing game, again, only 59.7% completion percentage for Bryce. I need to see that a lot better. They are 0-2 when they fail to rush for at least 175 yards. Keep that in mind. And again, this Washington defense ranks number 7 in terms of stopping the run. That said, we are going to get to the point where we are at the point in the video, rather, where I'm going to give my prediction. I think Michigan has to win this game. I think that they understand that they have to win this game, and they come out and do just that. I have them covering the spread. I know that's dangerous. I have Michigan covering the spread 33-24. 33-24 Michigan at home. Be sure to check it out. 12 noon. It's a big noon kickoff game. Also, check us out, myself, the Maniac, Johnny Olden Jr., and the guys from A House Divided. Saturday morning, the big college football show at 11. We will be previewing this game for sure, so definitely be over there, as well as other games that we will be previewing. We need that to, grow in popularity, so get up in the morning, get your coffee, get your breakfast, sit down with the new exciting morning show. Every week we're bringing a lot of energy, a ton of facts, hard-hitting facts, tons of laughs, just a great time, honestly. We'd appreciate if everybody checked us out 11 a.m. every Saturday morning. We put a lot of work into it, the production, the writing of the show. We have regular production meetings, so we really would appreciate it if you checked us out at 11 every Saturday. That said, also, next Monday, Maize Out Monday, back to its regular time of 7 p.m., and then at 8 p.m., an exclusive interview with Michigan linebacker commit, Markel Dabney. I know we were supposed to get this done a couple weeks ago. Things come up. We will definitely be locked in on Monday, though, 8 p.m., Markel Dabney, 7 p.m. Maize Out Monday. Be sure to be there or be square. Also, Saturday, immediate reaction show right here on the Maize Madman channel. By the way, this may not be the Maize Madman channel on Saturday. We are going to be doing some rebranding. We've already done a little bit, but we are going to be Maize Out Sports. So be on the lookout for that. Maize Out Sports, but I will always be the Maize Madman. Until next time, you know the slogan, stay angry, my friends. I'm sorry, before I get out of here, drop your predictions in the comments below. What do you think the score will be between Washington and Michigan? Let's talk about it in the comments section. Now, until next time, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. My ratings, they're about to go through the roof.
All right, now I'ma calm down. So I just don't get that all that Maize and that lock and all that puff. I just don't get it. And how the
Oh my God, we're shutting the damn live down. Good night, everybody.